It's the live sit and talk with Matthew Bat Rep.
That's right, this is Matthew from Mini Wargaming, and this is another live sit and talk. Bat Rep is not my last name. Just want to put that out there. Bat Rep stands for Battle Report. People thought my name was Matthew Bat Rep because of Beat Matt Bat Rep. Just want to clarify that in probably every video, so eventually we get it out there that everybody will be educated that Bat Rep means Battle Report, because that can only help the community. So, Star Trek cough. Oh, I see what you're saying. Anyways, so today we're going to do some Q&A. We're going to do some talking about Dark Potential. We're going to do some who knows what else will happen in this live show. But for the next 55 to 60 minutes, I hope to entertain you, wow you, amaze you, make you think a little, maybe think a lot about life, the existence of us and why we're here and where we're going and what is the purpose of everything that we have to do with, and all this in context with the Dark Potential universe. Of course, I'm just joking. Doesn't really matter. I thought your first name was Beat. Red Dragon, you're hilarious. Beat, Matt, Bat Rep, get it. Beat, Matt. Never mind. My middle name actually is Matthew, though. And I know some of you know what my first name is. So, what is my first name? Come on, somebody in the chat. What's my first name? I talked about this last time. There's got to be a regular here who knows what my first name is. And it's not Matthew. Warren. There we go. Halen524. You win the prize of being the person who wrote it in the chat first. So your prize is you get to remain in the chat undisturbed by myself. And yeah, everybody else, you're too late. You're not as fast as Halen524, who obviously is much faster than you. Huzzah, he says. I'm assuming it's a he. Halen524 is a neutral name. And I'm assuming you're a guy because 99% of people who watch this are guys. So it's like safe guess, and it's not being sexist. It's just, if it was in a room full of guys and I said, you're probably a guy, that's not sexist. Yes, you are a guy. I'm glad that we clarified that. I thought it said Helen. No, it says Halen. It's an A. Obviously a gender neutral thing. What does Halen mean? We'll put you in the spotlight a little bit, Halen524. What does your name come from? Is 524 just because Halen was already taken and so you just chose 3 random numbers? Or does it actually mean something? Van Halen? Oh, maybe Van Halen? That's other people's guesses. What about you, Halen? Where does it come from? Waiting on you, Halen. I know there's a bit of a delay, so that's okay. Maybe you're typing a lot. That is my real name. Oh. And 524 is my favorite number. Halen's a name, eh? I didn't know that. So hopefully you didn't take any offense to that. Anyways, so why don't we get started here? Let's warm up with a little bit of Q&A. I really need to make some more of those intros. So maybe next time you'll see some more intros. So let's jump to the chat. And if you have any questions, go ahead and post them in the chat right now, and I will answer them to the best of my ability. And then after that, maybe we'll talk about some other stuff. So go ahead, chat. Chat it up. I know you just want to ask questions, so go ahead and ask your questions. Okay, White Raven 17708. Any plans on expanding the store into the USA? The answer is no. No plans. Maybe one day, but no plans right now. The Bloody Gamers. Matt, will you do a walkthrough on any Lord of the Rings games? Video games. Probably not the video games. No. Red Dragon 162. Dave's real last name. I cannot divulge that information. That is a secret. I'm sure some people in this chat will claim to know the answer, but they are most likely wrong. JezX, why would you be primed in black with so many skin tones? That's pretty funny. So what I should actually get is like a unitard, and then like a fencing mask and cover it, and then make it all black, and then I'm primed in black. Missed 1X, since you're whistling Jeopardy, does that mean you want the questions in the form of answers? Of course. But no, in Jeopardy, you asked for questions, so that means I want questions. Denzel Tom, have you chosen a winner for the scenario contest? I've actually chosen several. I haven't announced them yet. There were some really good ideas. There are so many entries. I've only gotten through the first 40% of them. And so I don't know if I'm going to be able to get through all the entries. There's just so many of them. So hopefully that doesn't dissuade anybody from entering, because I am going to do my best to get through all of them. But yeah, I do have some. I have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 winners, maybe 7 or 8, depending on which ones I end up putting in scenarios. We actually played one of the scenarios yesterday, so we'll be talking more about that later, though. Storkman, are you guys planning to do Infinity Bat Reps? I get that question probably every time. The plan right now is no, but one day maybe. I'd like to stock Infinity. I'd like to do Infinity videos, but we've just got to keep up with what we have. Anime Freak, first live sit and talk, always miss them. Well, welcome Anime Freak 0908 to your first ever live sit and talk. White Raven 17708, please don't, LOL. Please don't what? Now I've forgotten the context. Oh, please don't expand to the US? Why? Do you have a store in the US? Sean Lord, out of all your mini wargaming projects and wargaming projects in general, what has been the hardest challenge? Do you mean like collecting armies and painting them? Or are you talking about like making Dark Potential? Anime Freak 0908, thank love to be here. Okay. White Raven 17708, no, the leotard. Okay, now I've got context. See, the chat is a few seconds delayed because when I talk, it takes some time to go into my computer, and then my computer does this cool thing where it like moves the electrons around and rearranges them in such a way that it can then be outputted into the internet. So like just like that. There's the electrons going. So just picture that. Like I talk, and it hits the microphone and it hits the camera, and then that converts it into electrons, which go into the computer, which then converts those electrons from this really high megabit ratio to a smaller megabit ratio, which then go out through the pipes that we call network cables, and they go to my router, which goes to another router, which goes to the modem out in the store, which goes through the Kojiko feed, which hits some fiber networks, and those go zipping through at near the speed of light, or maybe the speed of light because they are light. And they hit some other hubs, which bounce. They go up to satellites. Satellites beam it to other satellites, which then go down, and they all eventually make their way to Twitch. Twitch has servers, which then take the information, and they do their own little thingies like this, and then they say, okay, who's connected? And they start going to all the people who are watching, and then you get that coming through your routers, which comes into your computer, and then your computer does its own little thing, and boom, spits it out onto your screen and out of your speakers, and guess what? That takes 2 or 3 seconds. So yeah, that's my electron impression. Because they're constantly moving, they're never staying still. You thought they were converted to zeros and ones? No, zeros and ones only represent what they're converted to. It's all electrons, it's all waves, it's all wavelengths. It's actually quite complicated. So yeah, Computer Science with Matt by Kenado. Missed 1X, I like Wonka Vision better. What's Wonka Vision? I don't remember what that looks like. All right. More questions. Bog One Bill, since he did a playthrough of Dawn of War, would you or someone else at the store be planning on a playthrough of the upcoming Total War style Warhammer Fantasy games? Totally. I actually am looking forward to that. I like the Total War franchise, so I most likely will do that. Ultra Blood, is the vault open for all today? I seem to have access, and I know my membership had unfortunately expired. It shouldn't be. So I don't know why you have access, unless your account didn't expire properly. Let me check. Log out. Members Vault. Nope, I can't get to the Members Vault. And nope, I can't watch that. Nope, it's not. So maybe your membership just had a glitch and it let you keep it. So nope. I have actually done something. I made a change to the vault today that we'll talk about later. All right. Red Dragon. Bad Ultra Blood. Bad. Yes, that's right, Ultra Blood. You're a hacker. Borg OPL. Have you heard about the Witcher books? I have not heard about the Witcher books, but I guess technically the answer to that question is yes, because the moment I read that question, when I said it, I heard it, and I heard about them. So as I said it, no, I had not heard them because there is a speed. It takes a minute for sound to get to my ear, but now I have. Missed 1X, where Willy Wonka takes a giant candy bar and through all that stuff you just explained, you can pull a candy bar out of your TV. Oh yeah, that's true. Yes. Ultra Blood, all live shows are free now. Yes. Well, this show's always been free. Right. Karma Hoff, wasn't Matt supposed to be on 15 minutes ago? I did. I started at 3 o'clock. Maybe you didn't refresh. The live shows are free, but certain live shows, the recording is only available to Vault members. So like my live show is free, even the recording. Dan's live show is free, even the recording. Dave's is free, but then like the other ones, they're free to watch. But then once the live show is done, then you have to be a Vault member to watch them. All right, so back to Sean Lord says, by my question I meant, which has been the hardest challenge in collecting an army and painting it? Well, the hardest challenge, I'd have to say it would be painting. Just overall, I'm not a good painter. I don't like painting. I actually really don't like it. Sometimes I get motivated and I paint a bit and I enjoy it, but overall I don't like painting. So my biggest challenge is probably the Necrons, when I actually ended up doing 4,000 or 5,000 points in a month. That was a pretty big challenge. Silananil says, have you read any Imperial Guard novels? No, I have not. Cable 458 says, we're in now. It's true. And Denzel Tom says, getting all philosophical now. True. Canado, any chance one of your minions or yourself will start a Legion army for Hordes? Well, you know what? With the theory of quantum physics, there is always a chance for anything to happen based on the probabilities of just, spontaneous events. There is always a chance. There is basically never a chance that something will never happen. But sometimes there is, but not very often. The probability of that is very low. But if we have plans, none of us have plans for a Legion army, so I can't say when that will happen. Jim Bob Jeffers, how is life for you? Life is great. Life is fantastic. Family of Gamers 777, Matt, my son wants to know what your favorite unit of NIDs are. Hormagaunts with Toxin Sacs are pretty cool. Tervagons with 3 upgraded psychic powers with Biomancy are also pretty awesome. I'd say those are up there. Anime Freak 0908, hey Matt, what codex would you like to be updated next? The Tyranids, not because I need a rules update, because I want more models, and I want the Gaunts to be redone, and I want new flyers, although I've heard rumors that they're coming out with a Flying Monsters creature, so that's pretty cool. But if we're not being selfish, then the Tau and the Eldar need updates badly. Very badly. Jazex, are Chris and Austin's shows free to watch live? They're listed as Vault last I checked. Yeah, Chris's and Austin's are Vault shows. I think you can watch them live for free. Don't quote me on that. And then you have to be a Vault member to watch the recordings. Red Dragon 162, how do you feel about the awesome looking but super expensive Forge World models? Well, I like some of the Forge World models. I don't really care about the price so much because they're going to sell them for what they can sell them for. So it's hard to complain about price when they have to sell them for based on how much money they make and how much they actually sell them. So, but I do like a lot of their models. There's some that I don't like, but there are a lot of cool stuff. Doofy Dobie, why is it sometimes when you log onto a stream early, it says a stream is private when all the streams are supposed to be free now? I don't know. Sometimes Dave forgets to take the password off, and then he has to do it later. I'm not sure. So, okay, I give up says, really? See, seems some live shows only allow Vault members to watch before. Like I said, don't quote me on that. I can't remember. You have to ask Dave. Go on his live show tonight and ask him that question. 9 o'clock Eastern time. Denzel Tom, any chance of seeing your entire Khador army in full? I've seen it in full, so yeah, good chance. Actually, me making a video of it? Yeah, I probably will do that one day. Bag One Bill, speaking of War Machine, what's your opinion on the convergence of Cirrus and the new card game? I don't know about the new card game. The convergence of Cirrus looks pretty neat. The models don't excite me super much, but I like the idea that they're coming up with a neat idea for a faction, so we'll see how that works out. The models, maybe it's the way they painted them. They made them all gray, which was kind of boring. But, yeah. Borg OPL, what do you think about Cyberpunk 2077 game? You mean the video game? I saw a preview for it, and it wasn't really my cup of tea. So, not that I drink tea. But, so I don't really have much of an opinion except that. What about Black Templars? Don't forget them. We can forget them because Space Marines get plenty of updates, so we don't need them updated before Tau and Eldar. We need the Xenos updated as well. I know they have to update the Space Marines because they make the most money with them, but they also make the most money with them because they update them. It's kind of a cyclical thing. I don't think that Tyranids make the most money because they're the best. I think because they get so many factions and they get so many updates, they get so much love of the Games Workshop staff that obviously they're going to sell more. I'm going to try to avoid that with Dark Potential. Try to keep try to make all the factions just as popular as each other, but we'll see what happens. El Rogue Commando, any new ideas, plans for Dark Potential? We're going to save that for the Dark Matters section of the show. Sean Lord, 4 out of every mini wargamer you ever played at the store like Dave, Dan, and the Cooler, who is the hardest to beat? Dan has been very competitive, but he plays orcs, so that's kind of a bit of a handicap, and I'm being serious. So because they struggle a bit now with 6th edition, they need an update too. The Cooler, or Owen, he's very strategic, so he can come up with some pretty strong lists. He's beaten me plenty of times, so he's probably the one that's hardest, I would say. Forgan, I know and enjoy your live shows, but have you, Dan, or Dave ever thought about doing an audio podcast together? Audio podcast, probably never do. Doing a show together, that's probably something we'll do occasionally, but we can do more shows by doing them separate. Baron, the training goes well. Interested of something other than weightlifting? I'm not sure what your question means. The training is going well. I like weightlifting. Red Dragon, all the passwords disappeared from the live show page, at least for me, and I'm a lifetime Vault member. Is there some kind of glitch there? Not sure. I don't take care of that, unfortunately. Or fortunately. Denzel Tom, I was going to do Cricks until I saw the Convergence of Cirrus, and I love them. I still do Cricks, because I think they're cooler. Sean Lord, I also play Orcs. I feel for you, man. Full of Spheres, Matt, you guys got me back into the hobby after a 10-year absence. Well, thank you. I mean, you're welcome. I don't know which one to say. Because of your community building prowess, I've recently decided to devise a business plan and open a hobby shop here in Southern Florida. It's an honor to say thank you. Wow, that's great. Have fun. Like, seriously. It'll be hard, but have fun. Selenal Doom Siren or Blastmaster? No idea what those are, so Blastmaster sounds cooler. Kermahoff, is the video on? I'm going to have to chat this. Yes, refresh your page. F5 for the win, or Control R for the win, unless you're on a Mac. This is going to be really weird for the people in chat because it's not going to sync up with me actually chatting. Then I don't know, because I don't have a Mac. Do you have a Mac? I hope not, because then that would not be good. Because they are overpriced. Okay, there we go. Oh, nobody actually chatted while I was doing that. So that's kind of funny. Har har, says Sean Lord. Because I don't see anything but the Mini Wargaming logo. Weird. Don't know what to tell you. Can everybody else see me? Can everybody else see me? Soleno, we used to have a local shop, much like Mini Wargaming, but sadly the owner passed away from cancer. Wow, that's pretty tragic. And his family had to sell it and the rest of his stuff. I've always been tempted to start one up. Well, if you've at least 500,000 people in your local area, then that's definitely worthwhile. Yes, everybody can see me. Okay. No to the Mac. If you were to do a second War Machine army, what would you do? Ask Denzel Tom. Definitely Cricks. In fact, I'm probably going to pick them up because Dave hasn't been playing the War Machine very much, so I might steal his Cricks army and play them more. Because he's got a lot of them. He's missing some models, but he's got like 200 or 300 points worth of them. So yeah, Cricks would definitely be the one I'd play with because they require a lot of synergy, and I like that kind of tactical stuff. Whereas Khador, I didn't realize just how straightforward they are. There are some tricks and stuff, but they're more like a march up, take a lot of hits, and deal them back. Crazy Rock Kitjaw, there were not so many 40k beat map bat reps for some time. Why? There actually weren't very many beat map bat reps for some time. Because I was very busy with several things, Dark Potential being one of them. I'm the web designer and the programmer for our website. I don't do all the designing, but I do all the programming. So there was a time in December when I did like 2 weeks straight of just programming. There was all sorts of updates that were needed for a lot of different systems. And then we took a week off at Christmas, and then there's been a lot of stuff. So I was kind of in a hiatus from the battle reports for a little while, but I'm hopefully going to be doing 1 or 2 a week now. All right, Sean Lord. Matt, do you use spore mines, and what do you think of them? Spore mines, I do not. What do I think of them? They're not effective. It'd be fun for a scenario game, but that's about it. Denzel Tom, the Convergence of Crisis has synergy with the giving focus to each other. That's a pretty basic synergy. You know, I use my focus and pass it on. I hope that they have more than that. I like the idea of the Rat and Matt having the X and then the caster determining what those are, but that to me is not enough synergy. Whereas Cricks, you have to use all these dirty tricks in order to make them work, otherwise they die too easy. 90C, have you added any more to your Necrons, or do you have enough? I have enough for now. I haven't really added anything to any of my collections just because I've been so busy. Do I have enough? I could use a few more flyers. Maybe some more wraiths. But I have enough of everything to make a lot of different lists. Orky Benji, any chance for more fantasy videos? Yeah, there should be more coming out. Dan's been playing more fantasy. Owen played some fantasy last week. So, yeah, we like I said, we always do games based on what gamers challenge us to. So, Crazy Rock Kit Jaw, well, you're doing a great job, smiley face. Well, thank you. Kermahoff, I'm just stating this as a fact. My roomie is sleeping at his desk with his head on a pillow, which again is on his laptop. He wears his headset and YouTube videos are running. Weird. Some people need that to fall asleep. I don't know what it does for his dreams, but it'd be kind of interesting. Denzel Tom, but surely Dirty Tricks makes them cheesy. Not cheesy, because you need to use those combos in order to make them effective. So cheesy would be when it's just like, if I bring this, I will beat you. Dirty Tricks are like, I've got to get this combo off, and if you know how to defeat it, then I'm in trouble, and I have to kind of play to that. So maybe Dirty Tricks isn't the right word. Maybe it's more just the tactics that you have to use with them. The first leg went on. Flyer spam boo. Well, I just played a Matt vs. Matt battle report, and it's in the vault with the Necron flyer spam against Tyranids, and it was an interesting outcome. So you should go check that out. Taking names. Have you played Dreadball? No. If so, what did you think? Did not play it. So there is no if so. The Bloody Gamers, you should buy a Tombstalker. They are awesome. Actually, I should. British Nid Hunter. My friend just started a Necron army and wants someone to make a Necron Titan. Any thoughts? What would it look like? Unless it looked really funny. Red Dragon. I always wanted to get one of those big Terminator, the OV figures, and use that as a Necron Titan. Yeah, maybe. White Raven 17708. Who is your Dark Eldar or Dark DA player? Who's DA? Are you meaning Dark Eldar? Dark Angels. Oh, maybe Dark Angels. We don't have a Dark Angels player, unfortunately. Radish GM Hobby. Matt, the new battle reports look great, but the other day I noticed the Versus banner sometimes blocks sight. Maybe make it smaller, place it in the corner. Anyway, the new Matt vs. Matt was great. Yeah, we gotta tweak all of that. That's a new thing. So I do agree that it needs to be moved around a bit, or the way we videotape needs to change slightly. Sean Lord 4, yeah, I used to put Matt's bat reps on before I go to bed. I'd fall asleep soon after. Not saying you're boring, though. What was your weirdest dream? Asked Borg OPL. I've had weird dreams lately, so I don't know what I can say my weirdest is. I don't really remember them, though. Denzel Tom, if I make a scenario for the contest called the Space Elevator, would you think that is a good idea? I have no idea, because it depends on how the scenario works. British Nid Hunter, by the way, I love your Necron Flyer list and would love to take it on, but I'm in England. I hear that often, honestly. So fly here. It's not that expensive. Only like 15,000 pounds. And then you got your everything else. Yeah, it's expensive. Yeah, DA's Dark Angels got that now. You should make a Necron Titan. Dark Angels, yes. What do you think of the Imperial Guard Vendetta spam? I haven't played against it, but hearing based on what I've heard, it's probably really powerful. And obviously, 40k is not a game that is balanced. So if you're playing 40k thinking the game will be balanced, you're playing the wrong game. Play it for fun. That's it. Family of Gamer 777. Matt, the family and I are making a trek to Mini Wargaming. Would you help my son with his NIDS strategy? Strategy's after a comma, so that's kind of confusing. Of course I would. And challenge us to battle reports, and we'll do that. Have him bring in his painted Tyranids, and we'll do a battle report with them. Sanguinor 1996. Matt, what Tyranid unit should I get as I'm starting them and don't know where to start? Get the Battle Force. Manalau, I don't know how to say that. What do you think of demons apparently being next? Whatever, I don't really look at demons. I personally think that yes, they need balancing, but there are other armies that need balancing. Wood Elves, Dwarves, Fantasy, and as mentioned, Eldar and Tau. Games Workshop is going to update the ones that will make them the most money. And that is a good thing, because then they make more money, which allows them to make more models. That's what you want. I don't like the demons, though. Crazy Rock Kitjaw. I had heard the bunny home. He is like little fuzzy Ripper trying to eat everything. Do you have some pets, Matt? I used to have a dog and a cat. Don't anymore. Doofy Dobie. Hey, Matt, does the Mini Wargaming store have any of the old all-metal figs in stock? Necron figs, that is. Hopefully not. We might have like a couple metal figs, period, but not Necron ones. Denzel Tom, if it had gravity variations. Sure. British Nid Hunter. I have 0 pounds. LOL. That's not going to help you. What time is it? 3:30? Okay, we'll do a couple more questions. Do you think the Vendetta spam could beat the Necron Flyer spam? Have no idea. Never played against it. Full of Spears. Matt, I watched the new cheese video on beastofwar.com concerning the 6th edition ally rules. If so, how do you guys interpret holding objectives with allies? Yeah, I kind of saw a piece of that. Hold on, I'm gonna get a real book. Okay. So allies. So hard to find it in here. Allies, allies, allies. Here we go. Okay, so the question is, okay, holding objectives with allies. So if they're battle brothers, they're treated as friendly units from all points of view. So they can't, they can. Oh, that not even battle brothers can embark in allied transports. They count as being friendly units and all that. So battle brothers, I think it's obvious that they just act like everything else. Allies of convenience. Units in your army treat allies of convenience as enemy units that cannot be charged, shot, targeted with psychic powers, or have templates or blast markers placed over them. However, if the psychic power, scattering blast weapons, or any other abilities that have so the question, I guess, is, can an ally of convenience capture objectives? And it's a good question, because it says units in your army treat allies of convenience as enemy units, but that doesn't mean that you do. So I would say sure, they could capture objectives if they fall into the regular thing. So so go ahead in the comments, because I didn't actually watch the full video. What's the gist of the Beasts of War Cheese Hunters thing? Are they saying they can or cannot capture objectives? I'll have to wait a few seconds for the chat lag. That was a lot of chat lag. They cannot. Well, I don't see why they cannot. It says units in your army treat allies of convenience as enemy units. So let's read about capturing objectives. They can't capture objectives or count as kill points, I think. Well, I don't see why. Units in your army treat allies of convenience as enemy units. So, but it just says your units treat them that way. It doesn't say you do. They're claiming that they can deny you the objectives. Yeah, so you, it's not your, yeah. Okay, hold on a second. Let's, controlling objectives. You, the player, control an objective that there is at least one model from one of your scoring units, and no models from enemy denial units. And those enemy denial units would be your enemy's denial units, because it says your units treat your allies of convenience as enemy units, but you do not treat them as enemy. If you treat them as enemy, then you wouldn't have control over them. So, yeah. And then desperate allies. Yeah, and it says desperate allies are treated exactly like allies of convenience. Furthermore, if your primary detachment is in a desperate alliance, units from that allied detachment are non-scoring, non-denial units. So I don't see what the question is. Why would somebody even... It seems like a bit of a stretch for all of this. Because they clearly say it there, and it says the units in your army. It doesn't say you treat them as that. And denial units are those squads that can prevent an enemy from controlling. In internal missions, all units are denial units, save for a few examples given below. But it's like, and no models from enemy denial units. But that's your enemy, not them. So I think it's pretty clear that allies of convenience count as scoring, and it means they count as kill points, and they count as being able to capture objectives, and they would not deny you an objective. So yeah, I don't see where anybody would have a thread to hang on there. So there's a lot of areas in the rule book that are iffy. I will grant you that, but that one doesn't seem to be one of them. And the one-eye open, yeah, and you have the one-eye open rule with the desperate allies as well. So there's always a chance that you don't move, shoot, run, or assault that turn if you're near a desperate ally, because you're worried about them. Vichyssoise, I think it's confusion based around the mixed context use of the word enemy. I agree. It's poorly written. I definitely agree it's poorly written. But the entire 6th edition 40k rulebook is horribly written. It's awesome rules. They're a lot of fun, but they just did not put any effort whatsoever, it feels like, into actually trying to make the rules. The words they use just are frustrating because they'll use fluff words. They'll use the same words to mean two different things, and yeah. So I really don't like that. The Privateer Press does a much better job writing a rule book. Like, you look at the FAQ for Games Workshop stuff, and then you look at the FAQ for Privateer Press. There's a big difference in size there. Like, the FAQ for Games Workshop is huge. So, Punisher 1, at least it's clear at first glance in how 5th edition was. Actually, I think it's much worse. 5th edition, there were some rule debates, but if you actually read them long enough and talked about them long enough, you could figure them out. In 6th edition, there's some that you simply cannot come to an agreement on, that you have to make a house rule on. So, but having said that, 6th edition is a lot of fun. I love it. So, Anime Freak, what happened to your dog? I heard you talking about an old Joggablog. Sorry if it's a bit personal. No, it didn't die or anything. We actually had to give him away. Because combination of things, because we had to downsize at one point, so we didn't have room for him, and when we had little kids and he was a yippy dog, so it just was better to get rid of him. We liked him, but it was better off, and he went into a home with another dog just like him, so he has good companionship there. Kermahoff, hey Matt, would you guys accept video contributions from people who are not associated with Mini Wargaming in any way and don't want payment? We can't guarantee we'll use it because we have a standard that we go to. What you can do is put it on your own YouTube channel and then add it to Mini Wargaming's content area by clicking Add Content in the top right-hand corner of Mini Wargaming. But you can always try, but just don't be offended if we don't use it. Family of Gamer 777, do you think GW does this on purpose to get everyone talking about the rules? I don't think so. I think it's just laziness. They're a model company first. They even say this. They're good at making models. They're good at making fun games, but not competitive. Boschman 13, Matt, on the subject of ally rules, what do you think about the somewhat odd pairings? For example, the lack of nitty allies, despite things like Gene Stealer cults. Do you think this is a lore failure, or is there a good reason for it? I think a lot of them are kind of BS. The NIDs not having any makes sense. I know there's a Gene Stealer cult thing, so they could kind of be allied with Imperial Guard or something like that, but the Gene Stealer cults don't really work with the Tyranid swarms. When the swarms arrive, they don't fight side by side, so they more like prepare the way. So they almost need their own codex, but I don't want them to have that. More maybe like a White Dwarf kind of rules thing would be kind of fun. But a lot of them don't make any sense. So, yeah. But I think the idea, marketing-wise, behind, and I'm looking down at this, by the way. The idea is, of course, I've got a Space Marine army, but there's no new Space Marine stuff. Well, you got allies now, so now you can buy that kind of stuff. So it was definitely a marketing move, and a good one at that. But for the Games Workshop kind of shot themselves in the foot here because in their own lore, nobody works together. Space Marines and Imperial Guard are all super anti-Xenos, and all of a sudden they can ally with Xenos. So that just doesn't make any sense to me. All right. Bag Wambill, Matt, do you have any advice for an aspiring Tomb Kings player? For now, I plan on having a Lich Priest, a Tomb Herald, a Prince, a big block of Archers, a big block of Warriors, some Guard, and a Casket of Souls. My advice is, if this is your first army, good luck, because they are tough. Do some searches on forums, because I'm just starting to figure them out. Go Magic heavy. Definitely Magic heavy. Like, if you can fit 2 Lich Priests in there, like high Lich Priests, that's awesome, because then they can do lots. Yeah. So, Anime Freak 0908, what do you think about Eldar and Dark Eldar being battle brothers? Well, somebody explained that to me that they're kind of the same race, so you can kind of pretend that these Eldar are Dark Eldar. But yeah, I don't know. It's a stretch once again. Elro Commando, hey Matt, do you think of converting Warhammer 40k miniatures to famous fictional characters like Master Chief from Halo or Isaac Clarke from Dead Space to be a good idea? Sure, that'd be fun. It'd be really fun. I don't really do conversions though. Old Man Fang, have you seen a swing from GW to PP with prices? Overall, it's cheaper to get into War Machine Hordes, and your view on the playstyle PP were better or worse than Games Workshop? No. You know what? I'm going to say this. Games Workshop prices are fine. They are not too high. And I know I'm going to get a bunch of like, oh, what? How can you say that? They're horrible. They're so expensive, but they're not. They set the price, and the market pays for it. Therefore, their prices are not too high. Their prices are exactly where they should be. It is a niche market, so they have to have high prices in order for it to work. So privateer press is the same thing. They're expensive. They just happen to require less models, and so that works out sometimes to be cheaper. Not always. Depends on which army you're collecting and what you decide to do. If you go heavy warjack or heavy units, their new plastic stuff obviously is going to help with that too. So no, I don't think there's a heavy swing from Games Workshop to privateer press because of prices. I think it's because Privateer Press did a good job of coming out with a good game with good enough models, and they're getting better at their models. Not as good as Games Workshop yet, but they're getting up there. And they've done a really good job promoting their games in stores. Games Workshop does a bad job working with retailers, and Privateer Press does a good job with it. And so they've got a good core following. They've got their press gangers and everything else. So they've done a really good job with their marketing, and I think that's the big thing. Sean Lord, 4, what do you prefer, 40k or fantasy? 40k. Papa Pico 619, what you think of Fiancé? I think MK Ultra Defiance. I have no idea what you're talking about. Fishy Swass, have you seen a swing from GW to Privateer Press since the release of 6th edition? I know I have. See, you're going to see it localized. You'll see a group of gamers move from one game to another. But no, I haven't. Our Games Workshop sales are still strong. Privateer Press are increasing, but I'm not seeing our Games Workshop ones go down. Anime Freak 0908, what do you think about the nerf on power weapons to AP3? 2+ armor is now really OP. Your thoughts? I don't think 2+ armor is overpowered, because usually the units that come with 2+ armor are very high priced. And the way you deal with 2+ armor is not AP2 weapons. You deal with it with a lot of hits, and that way they'll eventually roll ones. So I don't really have a problem with 2+ armor. Nickel Bell, hey Matt, just tuned in. Boo the commercials. I was wondering if you guys were planning on putting up some high-res pictures of your own Dark Potential army paint schemes. Dan stole color scheme, so I want to see how he did it. And by the way, the prices are ridiculous. Most people I know have simply stopped buying directly because of this. Thank God. Thank goodness for Mini Wargaming and anything in the US lowering the prices. Yeah, dollars at par, but we pay more. Yeah, well, you heard my opinion on the prices thing. High-res pictures? You don't want high-res pictures of some of our armies. But yeah, we probably should do that. I should make a gallery. So, and Red Dragon, I agree. It is time for
Dark Matters.
So we're gonna end the Q&A right now. It's 3:45. So normally I do Dark Matters discussion first, but now I'm gonna do it second because I know not everybody always cares about Dark Potential, although you should because it's awesome. So I was gonna talk about something with Dark Potential. What was it? Scenario contest. Lots of really good entries. And I've been reading through them about 5 or 6 pages in, the 13 or 14 pages of submissions. And there's been a lot of good ones. A lot of ones that are just kind of like, here's my scenario. It's capture these objectives. And then they just kind of rename that. Now it's not objectives, now it's this. So it's, the basic idea is the same. But I was going to talk about something. What was it? We are planning on doing a Dark Potential week probably in March. And in that week, we will be doing tons of battle reports, tutorials. And we're going to have some army deals where you can get an entire Dark Potential army for $100 or 110 if you get Corporation. And that's with free shipping anywhere in the world. It's pretty awesome. There was something. I don't remember what it was now. All right, well, I'll answer a couple questions about Dark Potential. Old Man Fang says, Dark Potential, I'm looking for the Salvagers as you described. Any word? No, not yet. Salvagers next year, I would think. LRO, Commando, any new plans for races and units? Next year. The plans for the current ones are to get them fully fleshed out with all the models that are in the rule book by the end of the year. That's what I'm hoping for. What do you guys think about the idea of doing another fundraiser so we can get Wave 2 and 3 out faster? And while I'm waiting for the chat to respond to that, let me just explain that we can do Wave 2 and 3 probably without a fundraiser, but it'll take a lot longer. It'll take a while to get enough sales and other areas doing well. And so we probably would do wave 2 like in 6 to 9 months, and wave 3 after that. Whereas if we did a fundraiser, and I was, if we did do one, we can do it like in April again. That would give us enough money to get it done much, much quicker. So, do you think that that the community as a whole would respond well to it, or do you think that it would not be good because we just did one last year? Now we wouldn't do salvagers with this one. This would just be to finish off the reclaimers, Xlanthos and the corporation, to get their wave 2 at least out, and if we raise enough, then wave 3. So let's see what the comments say. Yes, Old Man Fang says. Sounds good, El Rogue Commando. Doofy Dobie, if it's up when I have money, I'll throw some money at it. Red Dragon says I want to contribute to it. Boschman says they're fun and make the community more involved. Old Man Fang says I only didn't do it last time because there wasn't salvagers. Fishy Swass, I'd be all in support of another fundraiser, but I'm not in a position to contribute in the same way this time. That's fine. Forum people can do Kickstarter now. Yeah, I know, but I don't want to use Kickstarter anyways. Pricey says sure. Doofy Dowie says, what kind of fundraising are you thinking? Well, we would probably use something like Indiegogo, or I might program my own so we don't get the 4% stripped off. Old Man Fang says no, but you said yes. Don't say both. Fool of Spirit says, we believe in you. Halen says yes. Sounds awesome. Do it. Give it more time. Doing these fundraisers close together can hurt PR. See, that's what I'm thinking too. I don't want them too close together. Bagwin Bill says, would people who put money into it be able to hold off on prizes for salvagers? I'd probably say no, just because I don't know when salvagers are coming off. Do it right after a lot of promotion. Yeah, I'm thinking we wouldn't do it until April if we did do it, because I'd want to do lots of battle reports so people can kind of get into the game, and then they're like, okay, we got the starter sets, now what? And then be like, okay, well, if we want to really get this going, then we would need an injection of funds. And of course. And to answer your question, Sanguinor, anybody in the world would be able to give money. Even the last one. Kickstarter, you can only be in the US or UK to start to be the person doing the Kickstarter, but anybody can contribute who has a credit card or PayPal account. Or actually credit card with Kickstarter, but PayPal account with ours. Pricey says you have a good connection with the wargaming community. I think it will work. I think so too. I'll be honest, I'm slightly hesitant just because, fundraisers, there's been a lot of Kickstarter fundraisers over the last year. I'm not sure if you noticed. And there's been some companies who've used it who don't really need to. I'm not going to name names, but it's a hard debate because it's like Kickstarter, the feel of it is you get a company who doesn't have the startup money, and they're looking for their fans to help them with that in return for the fans getting the product as well. So it's kind of like a pre-ordering system, but the fans get to feel like they're contributing to the actual product, which they are. But then you get some companies who come in who have the startup money, but they use Kickstarter to basically do pre-orders. So, and so I think in some ways it's kind of gotten watered down. When we did ours last year, it seemed to be the beginning of one. I'm not sure if maybe ours influenced a lot of people to do one, because I know we weren't the first to do one, but maybe we just kind of contributed to that whole idea. So Red Dragon saying, so if you do this Kickstarter, what units are you thinking of producing with this fundraiser? Basically, we want... Here, let me pull up the production schedule, and I'll tell you. Dark Potential, miniature production. Okay, so wave 2 would be the minimum of what I'd want to get done. For the Xlanthos, we'd have the manipulator. So basically, I want each other race to get their second commander, because if you look in the rule books, you see each race has their primary commander, which are usually around 100 points, and then they have one or two other commanders that are cheaper but don't have as many command points. And so I'd want each race to get one of those. So the manipulator would be the Xlanthos one, and then maybe at least another squad and maybe another solo. Now for the Xlanthos, they only have one solo, so I'd want to get the Infector out as well, and maybe the shock troops. That would be the group that I would want to get out. For the corporation, I'd want to get the Recruiter. He's the other commander. The Commando as a solo, and then the corporate agents as the group. And then for the Reclaimers, I'd want to get the Warden and the Drop Guard squad, and maybe another solo. That would be all wave 2, which is a lot, so we'd have to raise a good amount to get all that. At the very least, I'd want to get the 3 sub-commanders out just to really it would really change the way the game feels. Wave 3 would then, for the Xlanthos, be the Phase Troops and the Guardian. The Phase Troops are snipers who can see through walls and shoot through walls. Not as overpowered as it sounds. because they have their disadvantages. For a corporation, would be the medic, the technician with the gun emplacement as well. The technician goes around, sets up guns, kind of like the sentry in Team Fortress. And the reclaimers, I don't know yet. I don't have their planned wave 3. So that's what. Drop guard. Yeah, they're kind of a reserve drop troops. It might be the drop guard. I might get the Aegis guard, the ones with the big shields. They probably would be the ones done first, actually, and then the drop guard second. Yeah, the drop guard will be the jetpack guys. So they'll have fun rules too. So yeah, that answers that question. I have some other questions I'm just reading here. 40K Addict says, cough. Jay has done a bunch of peanut tutorials with Dark Potential on his YouTube channel. Cough. Yes, thank you, Jay. You can go to youtube.com/miniwargamerj to watch those. Sean Lord is asking, what is Dark Potential? Is that Mini Wargaming's own game? Yes, it is. So somebody's asking about the scenario contest. Questions like, should we do like... Kimbo Jones says, have you seen any contrast entries? Yes, I have. And somebody's asking, should I do like a specific one or a story-driven one? Whatever. We're looking for fun ones, and we're looking for competitive ones too. So some of the ones... I plan on putting out scenarios that'll... there's the competitive list where if you're just playing a game and you want to try to win, then choose one of these. And then we'll have like the fluff scenarios that won't be necessarily balanced, but they'll be fun. All right. LaRogue Commando says, I think more lore would bring more customers in. I agree. And I want to get more artwork done as well. But it's all about money. That, we got a lot invested in the game already, and we're trying to sell more of the miniatures. But I would love more artwork like this, and developing more of the story. I actually have been working on more of the story. I've developed actually how dark matter works specifically for the science, for anybody who cares. I'm not going to explain it here. It takes too long. But but yeah, so I do want to do all that kind of stuff too. It's tricky because a year ago today I was thinking, yeah, well, let's do some Dark Potential stuff. Maybe we'll get a few miniatures, and now it's like you've got 3 starter sets out. So I can't go as fast as Privateer Press or Games Workshop in the development of this. So you're gonna have to kind of be patient with me. We'll be lucky to get the 3 first factions fully fleshed out by the end of the year, and hopefully a rule book next year. Because once we do the rule book, that's kind of like the official launch. So I got to be ready to do the rule book to go into full distribution and everything else. So Boschman says, and it'd probably make a few physicists eat their own beard. Actually, I've done a lot of research to make it plausible. Obviously, it's going to have to stretch beyond current physics, but you'll see. Nickel Bell, will he stick with the current unit names, Reclaimers mostly? I find there's no cohesive theme. We have a concept art section on the website. I can't find the large Reclaimer art anymore. The names aren't set in stone except for the ones that have been released. So nothing is set in stone yet except for what's been released. Manalalu says, how close do you feel you are to version 1 rules? We're actually pretty close. I just won't release them as version 1. They're going to stay in beta until we're ready to actually publish a rule book. But I'd say we're very close. We're doing some little tweaks as we play, but it'll be more tweaks to the stat lines than it is to the rules now. So, Anime Freaks asking which army to start with Dark Potential. Really, they're pretty well balanced with each other for the starter set, so whichever one stands out to you most. Okay. You did it again. Did what again? Manaloo and then rulebook next year? Yeah, I hope so. That's our plan, but who knows? Orky Benji, how have non-Indiegogo sales been of Dark Potential? We had a good amount of pre-orders. We just started putting out Dark Potential videos in the past week or two, so now we're kind of sitting back and waiting. But we'll see. Oh, Manaloo says, consider adding to the fundraiser? I don't think so. I want the fundraiser to be something I know exactly how to do. The rule book is going to have a lot of new things to learn. I've already done all the learning for making miniatures, so now I know how to do that. And so we could do it relatively quickly compared to last time. Last time it took like 8 months. This time we could probably do it in 2 or 3. So I'd rather just stick with that. Any ideas for special characters? Asked Pricey. At this point, no, not yet. So a couple more questions and then we're going to finish. Okay, Ackerman Jones, for Fog of War, would you use perception test as a means to shoot for first turn? I find the current Fog of War is too restrictive. We've tested it, actually. The Fog of War rule as it is works really well. The perception test one is a little too complicated, so we might use that for specific scenarios. Orky Benji, can you put up a spot for fan-submitted painted Dark Potential miniatures? I think it would be cool. I have white and red reclaimers to show off. I actually want to do that soon. I want to make a gallery for miniatures in general, because I think that's something that Mini Wargaming's been lacking, is a gallery for people to upload to. So, hopefully soon. All right. One more question. All right, I'll do a non-Dark Potential one. White Shepherd 89, thoughts on Thunderwolf Cavalry in 6th? No idea. Worth the points and money? But I don't know. I haven't ever used them. Kermahoff, hey Matt, if the Xanthos communicate with gamma rays, wouldn't that be extremely harmful to humans that they might encounter during their skirmishes? That hasn't been... The gamma ray thing isn't, like, solidified, but it would be very low intensity. So, just in the short run, you wouldn't really notice anything. So... Okay, I'm going to finish here, because I had that live show, I didn't have my snack, so I am starving. So I need to eat. And it's almost been an hour, so that's pretty good. But thank you very much for coming on the show. I really enjoyed all the questions. And of course, we will cover more next week. If you have suggestions for the show, then when I post the recording of this, make sure you reply to that with a comment on what you'd like to see in future shows, because I'm always open to new ideas. This is Matthew from Mini Wargaming. Happy Wargaming.